Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. Lots and lots of stakes races at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. But let's throw up the field for the Caribbean Classic. This is a very historic race, and it's the first time ever it's being held outside of Latin America. It's for 3-year-olds going 1 1/8 miles. $300,000 is the purse. We have a big field. Approximate post time is 4:45. Matt, I think a lot of folks watching this video are saying, you two bums can't pick winners in the United States. How are you going to pick winners in this race?
Accurate thoughts. I'm more concerned about dusting off my Spanish from high school and trying to figure out if I've got the pronunciations correct from many of these runners. Look, this is going to be a race where I'd be lying to you if I said I knew everything about these horses. A lot of it going off of form and class, and you know, you just hope that the other thing, just to keep in the back of your mind, Gulfstream, 1 1/8 miles. Use that speed to your advantage. The problem is, we've talked about, there's a lot of speed in here.
Not only that, but those outside post positions can be death in 1 1/8 miles, and it's certainly worth considering. We'll begin with Justiciero, the Puerto Rican Triple Crown winner, and he just made mincemeat of those races coming from far, far back. He is coming into this race with his sort of quasi-rabbit, #1 Platino, who's down inside. And you know he's just going to go out there and try to go as fast as he can and set things up for Justiciero. Here's my concern about the Puerto Rican Triple Crown winner. This horse ran so good, and he was just going good month after month after month, and then that tragic hurricane hit. There wasn't a lot of racing. He's only had one exhibition race to lead up here, and I wonder if that's enough against the strong field.
Yeah, and that's the problem, especially against horses that they're in form and they're ready to go. This has been the goal all along. It's good to see that most of these horses have gotten works at Gulfstream, so it's not totally going to be foreign to them. But I'm with you. I think the one thing that you've got in the back of your back pocket, if you like this horse, is the fact that you've got that uncoupled stablemate that's essentially going to be a rabbit in here, and there's other speed in here to help set things up for him.
Puerto Rico last won this race in 2007. Mexico won this race in 2013. They're represented by 3 horses, all next-door neighbors in posts 2, 3, and 4. We'll begin with Hala Hala, a filly who gets in really light at 110 pounds. She pulled off a 17-1 upset last time out. I think she has to run that race again before I completely believe it.
Probably going to need to take a step forward, too, if we're being honest. She's one of 3 fillies that's going to be running in this spot. I wonder if it's an instance where the running style is going to be beneficial for her, where she can sit just a little bit, but at the same time, I kind of agree with you. I mean, is she quite this good?
Irad Ortiz takes the mount. The 3 Jaime was second last time out behind Hala Hala. If you watch that race, she just got an easy, uncontested lead and still couldn't hold on. With the rabbit in here, with other speeds in the race, boy, Manny Franco's going to have to coax this one to get the 1 1/8 miles.
I just have to be honest. I mean, you look, and again, I don't know what you want to do. Some of the speed ratings that we're taking a look at, she's a little bit light, and when you consider the other speed that's signed on here, I have a hard time envisioning her wiring this field.
Of the Mexican contenders, I prefer the 4, Inspirato, who attracts the great Javier Castellano, a winner 2 starts back at 1 1/8 miles over a muddy track, and that could come into play as well. Some weather expected, wet weather for South Florida on Saturday. This one was 1-2 last time out, didn't fire. Willing to give him a mulligan. I think of the Mexican trio, I prefer Inspirato, 10-1 on the line.
It is something to keep in the back of your mind. It sounds like there could be some wet weather rolling through South Florida over the weekend, so that's something to just consider. And it's also nice to see a horse like this who has run well on a muddy track or even a sloppy track. Makes some sense.
Horses based in Venezuela have won 5 of the past 8 editions of this race. The 5 Tuki Monton is 15-1, had a 4-race win streak snapped last time out. This horse ran in regional races over there in Venezuela, sort of on the lesser circuits, and dominated the regional Triple Crown. It seems like he's stepping up in class here.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, stepping up in class. Also notice, though, those past 2 races, they came at 1 1/4 miles. Going to turn back to 1 1/8 miles. I think that's going to be beneficial, but at the same time, from a class standpoint, really going to get the acid test.
Venezuela also represented by the 9 and the 11. The 9 El Cubita, 3-1 morning line favorite. This horse is still eligible for a non-winners of 2 life race, but he has shown a good amount of ability, and you got to think there's upside, as this is only going to be start number 5. This trainer-jockey combination, they've already won this race twice. Jaramillo has won this race 5 times, and this horse is a late closer that should benefit, like Justiciero, from a fast pace.
Should get a beautiful setup in here. Misael Jaramillo is one of the best riders down at Gulfstream. He stays down there basically for the entire year, but even now that the championship meet is back and all the big boys are back, I mean, he's one of the best riders down there. I think that's a major positive. And that's the other thing to keep in mind. I know many of these are the local riders, but some of the folks that are coming in from out of town, if you've never ridden it in Gulfstream, I think it's a home field advantage, so to speak.
La de Horacio picks up Johnny Velasquez. A lot of things to like about this filly. Although she finished behind El Cubita last time out, that race was at 1.5 miles. She's really done some great work. She's won 6 of 11 starts, over $1 million, and she gets in really light being a filly against the boys.
Gets in very light, gets Johnny V, gets back to it in a more advantageous distance, I think. 1.5 miles, 1.25 miles too far. You get her back to this 1.1 miles, especially since she's proven herself over wet going. I think she's interesting. Now, that outside post, that may not be beneficial. She's going to have to work something out from there. But if the pace heats up, I think Johnny V's going to be able to get her over.
Horses from Panama have won the last 2 editions of this race. We'll begin with Senalero, only 1 for 10 lifetime. His sire won this race back in 1998. He seems like a nibbler, but if the pace is fast, maybe he's the kind of clunk-up specialist that can get a piece in your trifecta.
I just don't like the fact that his only win came at 5.5 furlongs. I kind of look at it and wonder, is distance really going to be his friend? I agree. Maybe he's that kind of horse that can get a piece at a bigger number.
Gatillo was a winner 3 starts back in Panama. His last 2 races have just been disastrous at short prices. He brings a little bit of speed to the party, but just looking over his lines and knowing nothing else really about Gatillo in the beginning of a first pass look at the past performances, doesn't he look like the horse that Lasix is the answer?
Yeah, for sure, and who knows, maybe that moves him up in a big way. It's just one of those things, though. We've talked about it. How do you back a horse off of a couple of really terrible efforts? Bad enough after 1 bad one. 2 consecutive terrible efforts. Now you're going to face really good company. It's tough to back.
Also from Panama, Frei Angelico. His dam won this race in 1996, and his trainer won it a couple of years ago. It's just such a tough outside post position. I think this horse has some ability. It's up to Luis Saez, an excellent jockey, to work out a trip.
Yeah, going to have to figure something out from the outside. Now, look, we saw on opening day in the Claiming Crown, Paco Lopez knew, got to get this horse out of here. He won that race with Flowers for Lisa, I believe. From the outside, hustled her out of there, got over and kind of saved some ground. I think both the 11 and the 12, they're going to need to do something. I'm not saying you're going to go out there and wing it on the front end. You're going to have to use them to get over, though.
Last but certainly not least, from the Dominican Republic comes Inmenso. The DR won this race in 2008, and here's the Dominican Triple Crown winner. And all he's done is win 9 in a row and pick up Joel Rosario.
Yeah, you know, I guess it's one of those things, depending on what kind of figs you're looking at, looks a little bit light, but at the same time, it's hard to argue with the horse that all they do is win.
It's really a fun race. I'm not sure how much I'm going to invest in this race, but I'm going to be watching with keen interest. And now we'll throw up our selections for the Caribbean Classic. You're going with the 11.
One of the fillies.
La de Horacio. Boy, I mean, it's hard to argue with her record, and I really think cutting back to 1.1 miles is just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, the 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles races that she's been running in these past 2, I think a little bit too far. Get back to the 1.1 miles. If the wet weather does show up, not going to be a problem for her. You get John Velasquez. I'll take a shot with the 11.
Mike Welsh has said he's seen some good things from El Cubita in the morning. This horse is very lightly raced. I'm hoping he takes a step forward. It appears there's going to be pace. The track shouldn't be an issue. He's never run on a fast track in his life. The price, Illman picks chalk no matter where the race is run. I believe this horse is the morning line favorite at 3-1. I'll go 9, 12, 6. Matt will go with the number 11. It's really an exciting afternoon of racing at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. If you're playing with home, please sign up to DRF Bets. You'll immediately be rewarded with a $300 bonus when you use the promo code FALL300 at drf.com/fall. Approximate post time for race 11 at Gulfstream on Saturday, 4:45 Eastern. Good luck.